Hello, and today we will continue with Pervader. As you know, magic is a mental process you've done to exploring into your mind, but have you ever done it with another person? I'm not sure. There was a time when I spoke with Alan in my mind, but it turned out he was just standing in front of me. Alan's quite the prankster, isn't he? Not too often, I'm a bit sad to say. Now, close your eyes and let us meditate together. I will guide you through the thoughts and we can begin then, okay? I sat back and allowed the darkness to settle around me. A moment later, I was in the world of mindfulness and I could see Seven standing ahead of me. This is a dream? A waking dream, perhaps. You must have been here many times before, right? Yeah, I guess I find it strange to see someone else with me this time. Nothing to worry about. Just so you understand, you are currently staring mental suspension. At any time you begin to feel uncertain or uncomfortable, you can simply walk back out into reality. Now then, let us start with the basics of health. Time seemed to slow to a crawl as Saffron began his lecture. His teachings came in the shape of careful words, yet I knew it was a trick of the senses. There are no true sounds in this place. He taught the triadic elements of health, that of the body, the mind, and the spirit. My surgeon represents the tower. It marks me as a doctor and imbues me with an affinity for a function called anodyne. The measure of anodyne empowers one to soothe the ailments inflicted upon the body and the mind of any creature. There is a method of healing. You are not of my tribe, and that will make it difficult for you to learn this function. For many, it is impossible to attempt anything other than the most basic of healing feats. You must try your best. For you, the first step is a tremendous leap. What followed was an intense learning endeavor. Seven communicated to me figments of thoughts that were nearly incomprehensible at surface level, yet contained the seed of meaning that bloomed forest of experience within me. They were like riddles that momentarily provoked you to stumble at their meanings, which led to a realization that you were meant to stumble. The lesson lay within that process. On and on, the barrage of essential knowledge and values washed over my mind, carousing it with newfound understanding. My mind feels better, like a plowman's arms after a day at the field. I sank back into a more comfortable rest that permitted my world to crumble back on itself. My eyes opened and I saw Seven standing in front of me. I don't know how long that had taken, but it had felt like hours, yet the sky was just as clear and bright as I remembered it. Take it off, Williams. This is the first time you went through something like this. How are you feeling? A bit lost, but I'm fine now. It was a lot to take in. He turned around and walked over to the desk to search for something in one of its drawers. Seven produced a small potted plant and placed it on the surface that he urged me to come to him. It was a tiny thing, just a handful of leaves on a leaning stalk, only a few inches tall, yet yellowing and browning edges that signal its withering health. I'd like you to practice on this. Seven brushed his hand over the plant, instantly invigorating it and restoring its color. For something so small, the goal is simple. You will know success when you manage to restore its rich green hues. Then he raised his hand again, and the thing withered back to how it was before. I do not expect you to have perfect results. As long as you can improve, it's just a tiny bit. You will have managed something amazing. So I just had to try it? Yes. I know how it goes by now. Put your mind to it and you will succeed. This will take many attempts. I don't wish to keep you here, nor is there any reason for you to do this here, so take the plan with you. Come back to me tomorrow and we'll check your results. He handed me the project planner. So this would be my homework? Huh, indeed. Does that make you feel young again? Not really. Alan had me do some studying when I was working for him in Syria, which wasn't that long ago. Were you a pervader then? No. He was trying to help me get better at reading and writing. To help him with the paperwork at his shop. I see. That history book you picked up must be quite exciting then. Can you get better at reading through meditation? I don't believe so. I never heard of anyone bringing books into their mind for further study. Though, if you were to do something like that, being good at reading would be a prerequisite, so... Sorry, I don't have any advice for you on that front. Is there anything else you can learn through meditation? What you gave me felt really useful, I guess, is the best word to describe it. Oh, well, you have Roberta to thank for that. She has taught me ways of conversing with others that are much more effective during a trance. Roberta seemed very strange when we first met. Maybe I should ask him about her. What kind of a pervader is Roberta? I paused later for a moment as Severin's eyes searched through mine, pondering. He understands it was a pointed question. Well, I wasn't sure if you realized it by now. Has Alan told you about her kind? Her kind? He nodded in a appeasing fashion as he waited his explanation. Roberta is a witch, as most female pervaders tend to turn out. Have you seen many girls with a surgery yet? Now that you mention it, I've noticed that most pervaders are men. If you are to be among pervaders from now on, it's best if you are aware of what I am about to tell you. Witches have a difficult time mingling with the rest of pervader society. Their talents set them apart in a very important way. Almost all women pervaders sound to be witches. Almost all men pervaders belong to one of the 6 archetypes. You see, pervaders of the hand circle, like my sister, have abilities which allow them to affect others' minds. It is a function they call omniscience. It allows them to read people's minds or to change the way people think or to pluck memories from others. Oftentimes, without you ever knowing, they might be listening to your thoughts. This led to an unfortunate state of affairs. Do you understand? As he spoke, I could not help but think back to the moment when I first laid eyes on Roberta. All my being rose to attention at the moment. I had become hyper-aware of every little twitch and every tiny gesture she had made. She was reading my mind at the time. It is likely she was reading your mind when you first met her. Do you just do it yourself? My sister has taught me some of what she knows, but I can only get hints at what people are thinking. After all, I'm not a witch. Most of my people skills come from reading your expression in your body language. It's a practice I apply when teaching my birds as well. Its most basic obeisance allows one to pick up the thoughts a person is currently experiencing. Whatever you're thinking right now is altering the fabric of the ether around you. With practice, you can begin to understand those radiating patterns that people release into the world. It's akin to sensing a person's heat. I don't like the idea of people knowing what's in my mind. People's thoughts are private, understandably. Pervaders are not too keen on exposing themselves to others with such abilities. The power is seductive. You and I will never be able to appreciate its true potential, but we'll just struggle to make peace with it. That is why they do not live among other pervaders and have their own separate sanctuaries where they try to develop discipline. My sister and I were separated as kids for that reason. I was not allowed to see her for many years, but she learned to control her powers. If what I'm saying sounds a bit oppressive to you, then allow me to ease your mind a bit. A witch cannot do anything to you without you knowing about it. At best, she can detect your current thoughts. If someone wants to search your memories or alter the way you think, you will instantly know something is wrong, and you have time to fight against it. Wizards themselves keep each other in check. They do not allow any other to harass Selman or other Pervaders, criminals, or dealt with harshly. There are also spells to protect your mind, though you won't be able to cast them yet. I wonder if it was dangerous to be around witches. How far do their powers go? Are Pervaders just paranoid, or is this separation necessary? I wanted to ask them about it, but I could tell he was only informing with the goal of protecting his sister. My worries would seem like suspicions of Pervader. Now that I've made you wise to it, she will be able to tell that you are aware of these things. But if you will allow me one request, do not think ill of her for her nature. She often deals with these judgments when she's out in the world doing her work. I want this place to be her safe haven. That's why we came to Aldrich Elysium, and why we are so grateful to him. I understand, it's alright, Selphon. I'm also grateful to your sister and to you for all the work you've done for us. Though honestly, she seems very strong and confident. I'd be surprised to see ever let anyone bring her down, much less anyone like me. Pervader has remarkably thick skin. She had to become that way to survive. Slings and arrows may not injure her, but that does not mean I will stand by and allow others to attack her. Even if she is older and much stronger than me, she is still my sister, and it is my duty to look after her. Thank you for understanding. It means a lot to us. His tone had grown heavier and wearier throughout his defense of Pervader. He seemed quite a bit more relieved when I told him he did not need to fear judgment from me. But I guess I'll have to see what it feels like when I talk to her again. I decided to return back to the main hall to pick up the history book I had left behind. Now I have doubled the homework. I wonder how much Alan knows about these wits matters. He must have realized it when we first met the two of them. Thinking back to Chariot, I remember those other thieves. There were three of them. One was Chillis, the other one grabbed the dagger and died in a blast, and the third one was a witch. It all happened so quickly. She caught me and threw me to the floor. I was rendered useless and paralyzed, as if my muscles no longer worked. If all that was a form of obedience, there were three of them. One was Chillis, the other one grabbed the dagger and died in a blast, and the third one was a witch. It all happened so quickly. She caught me and threw me to the floor. I was rendered useless and paralyzed, as if my muscles no longer worked. If all that was a form of obedience, then I can see why it was so powerful and dangerous. The thought was a bit disturbing, so I decided to put it away for now. If I see Pervader again and have these ideas hanging over my head, it would make a bad impression. What should I do? I sat and pondered, flipping through the history book Ellen had given me. Might as well take a look. Naganti Remnants. On the first page, I gathered that it was a chronicle of Perlanine, assembled from different sources, both from within and from overseas. Sadly, we know little of what really happened during the 3rd century and prior. During the Great War, almost every region in Perlanine was ravaged and burned. Today, Comet Dane is the only place that has survived the beating bed had what they call the Great War. The city had never been broken, and its bulwarks date back even further than Hosebor's wall. Very few can trace their lineages back to before the cataclysm. The cosmopolitan people of ordinary Peregrine came from overseas in the aftermath of the blood-rebuilding civilization. Although the Inquisition prided itself on its ancestral struggle against Pervaders and the Naganti and the antecedents, it was not firmly founded until a century later, during Yngral Pitsblood's tyranny. I had lost myself in study. A dozen or so pages had been turned aside, consumed by my curious eyes. Suddenly I came to awareness and displaced my attention. I read all that so quickly. Whereas before I could struggle to get through a sentence, now I could blaze through paragraphs at a time. Complicated phrases I had only heard once before became intuitive. The words, somehow their meanings are clearer now. Structure makes sense. There's a flow to how things are written and how they are read. I can understand there's a depth in every area, however blatant or obscure it may present itself. Few words can say so much. I closed the book, reflexively estranged by my own ability. When did all this happen? Alan told me that becoming a Pervader would come with a sharpened mind, yet I did not expect such progress. I want to read further, but I'm much too eager to test my limits again. That little potted thing sits next to my book, taunting me with sickly color. I must nurse it back to health. My mind distracts itself with potentials, all the while ignoring the rising tone of steps behind me. I turned around and saw her standing in the middle of the room, much closer than I thought she would be. I'm sorry, did I startle you? It's alright. I was just focused and didn't realize someone came in. I see, you've got a keen mind, haven't you? She glanced and paced around to the side of the table, humoring herself. Every step she made echoed through the hall. Her comment was pointed. It made me wonder if I would have realized it without knowing what she really is. She turned around and leaned against the table, crossing her arms. I've been told you become smarter when you gain your surgery. She cringed at that. Smarter, oh mercy, no. Deliver it from your mind. All it does is make your thoughts turn faster. An idiot can arrive at the same stupid conclusions, but in half the time. Hardly a means of enlightenment. Never trust a fool who says these things. Anyway, I was actually meaning to talk to you and your master. I may have dug up some information for you. Where is it? Let's find Alan first. We made our way to Aldo's studio, where the old bear and our hosts were wrapped up in research. Alan rose to attend to this to better measure her findings. I've been meditating today, and I've recalled something that might be of use to you. Have you ever heard about a thing called the Apple Star? Yes, the Archon at Vergarion mentioned it. Arthur One wrote about it in one of his records. Aldrich has a copy of it here, but it did not seem to offer much information other than it might be a mist engine. There's more to say on that. Then tell us. I will tell you, but I require something in exchange. Oh, of course, name your price. First I need to make one thing clear. Even if I tell you what I know, I cannot ensure that you will find this item. There is peril in pursuing it, and the thing might not even exist. My information will not reveal any of this object's properties other than where you might start looking for it. Do you understand? I do. Just tell me what you need from me. My price for this information is your memories. Huh? What does that mean? Fine, you may have them. Hang on, Alan. What does that mean? There's nothing to worry about, Raymond. Many have done this trade. So Beth is an information broker. She exchanges knowledge for knowledge. Well said. But how? Why? Through magic, I am able to enter a person's mind and examine their thoughts and memories. A spell allows me to create a copy of their entire life experience. Every moment of one's life is made available, even those you cannot recall yourself. Everything that you have learned or felt will be mine as much as yours. My mental library is filled with many such chronicles. That is how I arrived at this information I am offering in exchange. There's no danger, if that's what you're worried about. It sounds so strange. Are you really okay with this? Do you trust her with everything you know? How can I tell him this? Lost for words. It took me a moment to gather myself and calm down. All of it seemed like such an evasive proposal, but maybe I'm overreacting. I cannot fathom letting a stranger know everything about me. Are you really willing to pay that price, Alan? He turned towards me and patted me on the shoulder again. It's alright, Raymond. It's a small price to pay for something that might save your life. You know this. If it was the other way around, I would have done it too. I shouldn't be just upset, but I am. I don't understand. Though my feelings desperately urged me to stop and reconsider all of this, Ellen and Roberta agreed to the exchange. They sat down in a couple of chairs at the other end of the room and closed their eyes, falling into a trance. It looked like what Severin and I had done earlier. Albert stepped next to me and we stared at them. "Why are you so worried, Ramus?" "It's fine. I'm sorry for this. Roberta is a very business-minded person. No matter how desperate you may be, she will always ask for something in return. Not even I have the privilege of asking something from her without giving something else in return. I don't know why she would want any of Alan's memories. I have no doubt that she gains more from this than, well, perhaps I shouldn't say that. She is not the one that is cursed. I'm sure you would also give everything you have to save Alan if it came to that." "Of course I would. Then take comfort in that and allow Alan to do this as a means of helping you." A short while later it was done, and Roberta stood up first. Alan seemed a bit dazed, shaking his head as if just waking up. "Are you all right, Alan?" "Fears a fibble." "Verily, your master is quite vigorous for his age." "I'm not that old," she giggled. "Apologies, I'm being inappropriate. Now I must keep my end of the bargain. So, have you ever heard of a secret named Cadron?" Albert's ears perked up at that. "Do you know him?" "I think I've heard the name before, but it's been years." A little over 10 years ago, in fact, Cadron had been an assistant researcher on many expeditions organized around Orthan's ruins. At the time, most seekers were more interested in revisiting the northern Nagati sites. Over the years, he had taken an interest in these cursed daggers that you are looking for, and he developed his own theories on how they work. He did not have many friends, but his colleagues said that he had done much personal research, which he kept to himself. Then one day he decided to leave. He announced his secret status and said he would never come back and that he would go south of the Orthan to search for his latest obsession. The last thing he said was this: "The key to the Albert store lies hidden in Orthan's hallowed walls. I must find it." As far as I can tell, he hasn't been heard of in over a decade. Why did he renounce his affiliation with the Seekers? By all accounts, he had grown frustrated with how the Seekers carried out their work. I'm afraid I don't have any details as to what his annoyances were, but it's safe to say he wasn't happy. Or it could be for another reason. Before he left, he also emphasized his intention to join with Umbro. Those ruffians were at odds with many Pervaders back then, more so than today. This was also right before Umbro went underground for several years. Is that it? This is all I have for you. I hope it was worth it. The old bear looked peeved and pensive. This isn't much to go on. You have a path forward. Umbro doesn't know anything about the Umbro store. Chillis was as surprised to hear about it as we were. Chillis is not Umbro. Thank you for your information, Roberta. Certainly, should we meet again and I learn something new and useful for your request, know that I will be at your service. Roberta left and Alan turned away from her just as quickly, staring out into the snowy world outside. I approached, wishing to prod him for answers. "Alan, now what?" "Did you start work on that book?" "The history book? Yes, I read it. I read a bit, but..." "Keep at it. Aldrich and I will continue our research." "Are you sure?" "Yes, Jim Shaw still needs to get the tender home before we get back together. In the meantime, we have to do everything we can here. We can talk more about this tomorrow, right?" "Okay." The situation had left me thoroughly exhausted. I spent the rest of the day in idle practice and study, not really paying attention to what I was doing. Other times I would just stop and glance out of a window or roam the halls. By nightfall, I had managed to restore Severin's plant to a verdant hue, just in time for Aldrich and Alan to end their steady assassin. Nothing new had been discovered, though I wasn't surprised we ate dinner. Then Aldrich showed us to our guest chambers. The next morning, everyone gathered in the central hall. Once more to eat breakfast, fried eggs, meat pies, and fresh vegetables made for a healthy meal. How do you get food up here? We have someone bringing supplies each week. All of it is handled through portal access, of course. Climbing up and down the mountain with that kind of volume would be an insane idea. Could you imagine such a thing? Almost as insane as settling down in such a place. Do you cook this yourself? I did. There are no servants in this homestead. It must take a lot of work to keep this place in such a good condition. A clever man works only as hard as he has to, dear Weymouth. Wherever we can, we replace the labor with spells and enchantments. To cook, to clean, to warm ourselves up, and to keep ourselves healthy, magic is a tool best used richly. It would be a waste otherwise. Aspirants must strive to hard work if they wish to progress, Aldrich, yet you aspire such indolence. I do not, and I resent that. Listen, my dear colleague, working hard for hardness' sake is a fool's errand. If you can do something quickly and effectively, then to do otherwise is wrong. That is a hard lesson to teach, Aldrich. I do not say the contrary, only that it is our goal. Yes, there lie a great number of toils ahead of aspiring Pervader like Weymouth, yet that should not distract him from the purpose. Yet everyone had finished their meals. They all went their separate ways. Alan would return to continue his work with Aldrich shortly, but not before we had the conversation he had promised me. As we made our way downstairs again, that familiar lump rose in my throat. Did you sleep all right? You're looking a little out of it. Sorry, I'm just thinking. I know, yesterday was a little bit too exhausting, but by now, Jim Star should be out on the road with that caravan. And remember, he might call us back at any time if he's in danger. When Aldrich gets a signal, we need to be ready to go. I'm ready always. We returned to the maze glass once more, observing the outside. He touched the magic surface. Today isn't as chilly as yesterday. It was definitely cold last time. We stood by and watched the morning sky for a while. Then we heard footsteps coming down the stairs. I was wondering where you were. As he got closer, I noticed he was playing with a glass bottle in her fingers, akin to the one Aldrich had given Gemstar. She threw the thing to the ground and crushed it under her heel, then continued her approach. I'll be leaving now, and I won't be back for at least a week. You'll probably be long gone by then. I've been summoned to Ice Keep. Might that we see each other again, there or anywhere else, feel free to find me. If I have any news for you regarding this cursed business, I will be happy to share. Thank you. We appreciate your help. She nodded and turned around. A porter appeared out of thin air, invited her to cross to the other side. A moment later she was gone. The doorway had vanished in the midst of glittering amber. We were alone once more. The sun's light shone onto my nose and cheeks, burning past the cold air beyond the pane. Do you want to check it out again? Out there, is it really not that cold? I give you my cloak. He removed it from his shoulders and placed it on mine before I could muster up a protest. Just Ellen, what about you? You'll freeze. I can keep myself warm through a spell. The cloak will do the same for you. Come on, I'm curious to take another look. The old bear took the lead, nearly leaping through the maze glass. Though my fur was tickled by the unmistakable cut of winter, it did not pierce as deeply as it did the day prior. It was a good chill. I felt invigorated, especially after witnessing Alan's brisk advance. Alan, slow down. There's ice everywhere. Sorry here. Grab onto me. My fingers dug into his thick arm as we made our way towards the wall overlooking the cloud layer. My feet are much steadier than you realize, lad. Hang on and don't be afraid. Alan brushed away the snow on top of the wall, making room for us to lean onto it as we gaze outwards. Is this your idea of distracting me? From what? From talking. Not at all. Talk all you want. I said I will. I said I will tell you everything you wanted to know. Why did you want to come out here anyway? I'm just curious where we are. Aldred doesn't want us to know, but I figured I might look and recognize something. Have you ever been up this high before? There are many sanctuaries and retreats atop the mountains of Boresius, and I've been to a few of them. He stretched his eyes across the horizon. So where are we? I don't quite know. While he pondered his surroundings, I snuggled into his cloak and pondered on my own. Where did I start? I didn't really. She offered to help, and I gave her what she wanted in exchange. Stefan told me about her. Did you know she was a witch? Most female pervaders are witches. I know that now. Stefan told me some things about how they have troubles with other pervaders because of their powers. Is that true? Some pervaders are afraid of them, perhaps justifiably. I try to shy away from those ideas. Once you're more experienced, I will have to teach you ways to defend your mind. That's all you can do if you're really worried about it. It went by quickly. You see flashes of the past, all these little moments from when I was younger and back home, when I was teaching, and then it was over. Did it hurt or? No, it was perhaps a little overwhelming and intense. I didn't enjoy it, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I can imagine. If someone crawled through my mind and looked at everything I've ever thought, I shook my head inside, afraid someone will read your dirty mind here. What? The incineration gave me lewd thoughts. I pictured Ellen standing there naked and how embarrassing it would be if he knew that was on my mind. Mr. Raymond stopped. No. I mean, if someone says something like that, you order them to have a dirty mind. That's on you. The power of suggestion. He chuckled and gave me another reassuring pat on the back. Don't worry about it too much. We just know how men think better than we know it ourselves. If you ever had vulgar thoughts about Roberta, I'm sure she didn't mind. Oh, mercy, Alice, stop. No need to be so sorry, lad. She's a pretty girl. What's the harm in having those thoughts? I don't think that way. Ellen glanced at me with a smile, studying my face. I was too flustered to look at him. All right, I'm sorry. I mean, it's not like I'm chaste or prudish or anything like that. Just that. Wait, do you think she's pretty? She is, and she tries to be. It should be plain to say. Now, don't go taking the wrong idea. I'm not a horny old bastard who can't stop thinking about younger ladies. I don't think that way either for multiple reasons. I just mean to say it's alright if you think these things. You're a young man. She's a young lady. No one would bear an eye. Anyway, I'm sorry again. He chuckled. Mercy, I do sound like an old fool, don't I? As embarrassing as it was, I enjoyed listening to him talk about intimate things, and I wanted to push him further on it. But I decided it could wait. There were other, more important things I wanted to ask. I'm not sure yet. First, we need to finish going through Aldred's secret records and see if anything else pops up. After that, we'll see. If we don't find anything, stick his head inside. We'll be in Tenderhall. Jimstar is raring to go after Umbro. I don't think we can restrain him any longer. He won't stop until we get some answers out of Gimmelborg and his crew. The watch is all over us now. The watch is after us now as well. I really don't know, Remus. Are you afraid of Umbro? You'd be mad not to have a little bit of fear. It's not that Umbro is likely to kill us, just all of us must respect the mind, yeah. Now I'm afraid of what all of it means. Remus, do you understand that if the Watts brands you as an Umbro agent, you will never be able to go back home? You will be arrested and likely put away in jail for the rest of your life, and not outright executed. I don't want either of us to need to go to that route. Jimstar would vouch for us, wouldn't he? I don't know if Jimstar's words matter much. Anyway, you look at it Anyway you look at it, he's a deserter and his father is a traitor for releasing us. We are no more favored by the Inquisition than any other man. I fear they're in even more trouble than we are. If we manage to see this thing through, if we manage to see this thing through till the end. Alan leaned further onto the wall, tapped his fingers onto the cold brushed stone. Sure, what do you want to know? It was a tough subject for him. If I didn't pressure him to do it, he would never speak about it of his own accord. From the way he had been acting since meeting Chillers, I was inclined to believe he had bottled up his feelings about whatever happened between them in the past and needed to release them. I hope I'm alright, and this isn't a big mistake. I hope I'm right, and this isn't a big mistake. You told me that he was an orphan and that you took him as your apprentice. Why does he hate you now? Because I abandoned him. But why? He stood straight, falling silent for a while. Alright, there's lots to say. It had been mental for most of my life, teaching young, aspiring pervaders the ways of magic. Most aspirants become apprentices to one of the mythos and learn from them. I've had many apprentices over time. You've actually met my first apprentice already. Who was it? Fallon. Really? You seem... Let's forget about him. He doesn't really have anything to do with what happened. When Chillers arrived at our sanctuary, I was already teaching another student. His name was Roy. Roy was a brilliant young man. After a few years under my tutelage, he was already becoming a competent mage who would work on his own projects. As an absolutely stellar student, he was even slated to join the Seekers, but he held back, saying he wanted to help me finish my research. Since Ray did so well, I thought I would be able to take Chillers under my wing. The boy needed someone to take care of him. It was wonderful. Chillers looked up to Roy like an older brother. There was this one day, I returned to my studio and found my desk chair had been scorched to a crisp, as coating every surface of the room as if it were a furnace. Both of them just stood there, frozen with guilt. At the time, Chillers had not been... Both of them just stood there, frozen with guilt. At the time, Chillers had not managed to cast a spell yet. It had been at it for weeks, with Chillers playing with wisps to no avail. He just wasn't able to do any magic. Then I learned that Roy had been trying to help Chillers whenever I wasn't around. All that damage was caused by Chillers' first little wisp, which had gone out of control. I scolded them, of course. It took months to get rid of the stains and the smell of the smoke, yet I couldn't help but feel so proud. Both of them were so eager to impress me. Roy wanted so much for Chillers to succeed. I never had kids, Ramus, but I loved both of them as if they were my own. He paused again. Pain crawled up his face, teasing moisture from his eyes. It was hard for him to speak, but I had to know. What happened to Roy? It was almost a decade ago. Back then, I was interested in studying the Ethersia. The Ethersia, which is the space from which the ether flows, the source of all our magic. One of the ways of accessing such a place is through portals. You've seen what Aldrich can do, opening gateways to faraway lands. Is a very advanced type of rebel magic. Although it's in my sphere of magic, I have never been able to do it the way Aldrich does it. That didn't stop me from trying, however. You see, portals are not simply doorways from here to there. They are channels that cross through many places. Throughout my research, I was attempting to conjure one to access the Ethersea directly. It was not an conventional thing, since the real world and that ethereal world do not cohere. Going to such a place would be like a fish trying to crawl onto land. The Ethersea is not habitable to life, but I simply wanted to observe it. What was helping me with my research after many hundreds, thousands of hours of painstaking experiments, when I finally managed to do it, we had conjured up a portal. It was a terrifying and alluring thing. I cannot even describe what it was, like the most vivid and absolutely chaotic storm of twisted and writhing matter. Things looked recognizable for just a moment, then shifted into something else. It almost looked alive. The portal was only as big as a plate, and it collapsed before we were able to take any notes or to test it in any other way. Roy and I then became even more enthralled with our project. We needed to do it again and to keep it open for longer. Over the next few weeks, we worked hard on ways we could expand its length and size so that we may study the place further. And it worked. Our next portal was even bigger, then the one after that grew larger and larger. But then one day we managed to create a portal that was big enough to fit a man. We were too fascinated with it. I was too fascinated. I should have known better. We opened the portal. It was to pick up a wand had meant to use for an experiment. When I looked back, I saw Roy passing through the portal. I rushed towards it, but he was gone. The ecstasy had swallowed him up. That strange world had taken him away. Before I could even figure out what to do, the portal had collapsed, and then I never saw him again. A gust of wind blew, and rubbed something from his eye. The pulse lingered, and he wouldn't say anything anymore. What happened to Chillis? He quiet. Chillis was sad for a while, but eventually he got past it. He was strong like Roy. But I couldn't handle it. I just couldn't. Every time I looked at him, I spent the next 2 years obsessing over that portal. I tried to open it up again and look for Roy, but I never managed to do it again. Chillis was upset with me for how I acted after, but I couldn't do anything else. He had come into his own. He didn't need me anymore. I was too broken. I decided to leave. I told Chillis I would be gone for a while, that I needed some time away from everything, and I never came back. How long ago was that? He sighed and turned away. 8 years ago. Alan. The knot in my stomach had grown heavy. If only I had known. I'm so sorry, Alan. I messed up, and Chillis is right to hate me. You can hate me too, if that's how you feel. No, Alan. Either way, I don't deserve any pity. Right now, the only thing I can do to put some good in the world is to help you overcome this affliction. He pushed himself away from the wall and took a few steps towards the stairs. I hope I've said everything you wanted to know. Alan, I don't want you to beat yourself up for this. We all make mistakes. Don't worry, lad. I'm focused on the test. That's what this is all about. You should get inside. We've been out here too long. Then let's go back. You go ahead. I want to see if I can take a look below. No, I'm not letting you do this alone. You're freezing. You're not even wearing anything. Do I look like I'm shaking? It's all right. I walked towards him and grabbed onto his arm again. Then let's go. I've been curious as well. Okay, come here. And I wrapped his arm around my shoulders and pulled me close as we walked. It was so warm, like a hearth. He had cast an aura of pleasant heat about him. Each step he took would melt the snow we left behind. Are you okay? Yeah. Being so close to him made me feel flustered again, and had so many emotions running through me after that conversation. The stone steps were a bit too weathered for careless treading, so I couldn't focus on my thoughts right now, though Alan did seem much more sure-footed than me. How long does it go? The fog was clearing up. We had reached a cloud layer. Little by little, the landscape came into view. Once I was able to see the ground below, I realized just how high all this really was. Well, I've never seen anything like this. Alan was studying the land, looking here and there for familiar landmarks. I tried to as well, but everything looked foreign, for I knew this wasn't even Pelanine. A river and a lake lay at the base of the mountain, surrounded by green fields and forest. There was also a town and a castle. Where are we? Old Bear seemed perplexed, quirking his brow and staring intently at the settlement below. Alan, we should go back. His tone was grave, urging me not to pester him further. We made our way back up, climbing carefully so as not to unsettle any loose stones. The wind had also gotten rougher. A familiar screech called from somewhere up high. It was one of Stefan's birds set loose into the sky. It dived past us and disappeared into the land below. When we got back to the landing room, Aldrich was waiting there for us. I was worried you had gotten lost. We're fine. Aldrich, where are we? The boy understood the point of Alan's question and deliberately avoided mixing words. My Elysium lies atop Mount Sa. Wait, is that? Yes, miss. We're in the heart of the domain. The town in the valley is Coeur Helene, the Inquisition headquarters. Why in the world? My estranged gaze fell upon Aldrich. Then, are you with them? Me? Aldrich laughed. Of course not, Weymouth. I stand firmly against them. You must know this, surely. Do not be deceived by our location. It is meant to hide us from them more than anyone else. A very bold hiding spot. It is. One never looks too close to home for enemies. That is why it is the best place to be. Now that you know our secret, I shall expect you to keep it to yourselves. Of course, over the next few days we try not to stir too much trouble anymore. The research continued with few results. The dagger was a dud and there were no other writings on them, at least from what we could see. In the end, Roberta's information was the only thing we had managed to gather out of this retreat. I would spend most of my time with Severin, finishing off my healing training. By the end of it, I was able to do much more than even he expected. His final lesson left a bad omen, however. Suffering is the mother of mercy. There will come a time in the future where you will be called upon to aid another in need of your new skills. This will be a daunting task, full of pain and injury, and lives hang in the balance. The key to everything is to focus. You've shown extraordinary talent, Weymouth, but remember not to let yourself be taken by fear and the consequence. Do your best and good luck. Jimsaw's signal came at midday, and Aldrich urged us to gather in the landing hall to say our goodbyes. As I entered, I could spot Jimsaw beyond the magical doorway the boar had already conjured. Your friend seems to be safe and sound, Jimsaw. Alan stepped forward and shook Aldrich's hand. I'm sorry I wasn't able to be of much use. You've done more than anyone can ask for. Thank you, Aldrich. Then until we meet again, friends, I hope you will find what you seek. Thank you. The old boy passed through the threshold first, then I followed. Swirling magic wraps around me, and I'm ready to pass through the other side. It's been too long since I've seen him. The passage pushes us forwards and sends me into a warmer world. I'm back. Weymouth. I leaped ahead and tackled him with a hug. Jimsaw. Whoa, hey. He stepped backwards, tugging onto me as he adjusted his balance. I miss you. Never would have guessed it. I'm happy to see you've made it. Same here. Any trouble on the road? Nah, I was beginning to get bored, to be honest. What about you? Any luck? You were right about the dagger. It wasn't what we were looking for. Can't say I'm surprised. I looked around the area and saw the town up on the hill. That's in the home? Correct. There's more to say, but for now let's find a place to stay. We might have to stick around a few days. Jimsaw nodded, then we were off. The three of us followed the road along the river, walking past a few houses on the outskirts. There were people at work in the farms surrounding the hill, cutting logs and attending to their land, but the road was otherwise empty. Our only welcome was a soothing breeze. Okay, so I'll stop here now. Okay, so we got to learn more about how Alan and Chillis separated, how Chillis, we got to learn the reason why Chillis is very hostile towards Alan. I don't think Chillis really hates Alan. I could be wrong, but from that conversation he and Chillis had back at Verigarion, it doesn't seem like Chillis hates his former master, Alan. And it seemed like he even wanted Alan to join Umbral. So, I mean, if he really hated Alan, I don't think he would have wanted anything to do with him, but I don't think he really hates him because he still wanted Alan to join Umbral. So turns out we're deep into the Inquisition territory. In fact, the mountain this place is in is actually right by the headquarters of the Inquisition. So, yeah, that's kind of scary there. I mean, you're right above the enemy. I mean, you're way above the enemy, but hey, that's the amazing part about mountains. I mean, you're right there, yet you're so far away. So that was kind of scary. I mean, if they somehow managed to fall off or use some magic to go down there, they'd be in trouble. They'd be arrested and executed and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, but that was, yeah. So, I feel sad about Roy and what happened to him. I hope he's still alive somehow. I don't know if war took him to a different part of the continent or the planet, or took him to some different reality or something like that. But I hope he's all right. And Chillus was very fond of Roy, and they worked together. And when Alan conjured that portal, and Roy went through the portal, he was very sad, and it devastated him to the point where he just ran away. He told Chillus he was going to go out for a little bit, and then he never came back. He abandoned Chillus. So Alan is very guilty about that. So Roberta, she certainly is a business-minded person. Always wanted something in exchange for her services, though it wasn't quite what I expected. I thought maybe she might want something, like some material from Alan, or some money or something like that. But apparently she wanted Alan to give his memories to him. So that her powers as a witch, she was able to go into Alan's mind and take all of his memories and use it so he could help him and Ramus. So yeah. Don't know much to say about her, but anyway. Seven was very helpful. He tried to be as helpful as he could, and he was able to treat Ramus for his injuries and all that. So that was good. So that's all I'm gonna say for now, because all these firecrackers are starting to go off, and all these fire alarms out here. So it's a final video of 2023. So I wish everybody Happy New Year, and I'll see you all next year. Thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.